Hey everybody, Steve here, and welcome to day 25 of my journey into crypto. And today I'm going to look back at an investment I did about 7 days ago. If you didn't watch that video, what I did was I staked the token called Time, and there's an app called wonderland.money. The whole goal of staking that currency is that you earn this crazy yield in terms of percentage, is 82,000%. So what I did, I put right around $10 in there. I'll explain all of that. But what I want to do is just revisit it and see what happened in those 7 days and let that guide me as an example about how you can earn or not earn in crypto and just give you an idea of what this looks like. So let's get into it. So here's what I did 7 days ago. First of all, in order to even get the Time token, you have to exchange it from AVAX. And this whole thing runs on the Avalanche network. So back up. I purchased AVAX through Coinbase, started with 0.15. At the time, that was worth about $12.60. I'll come back to this, but that part is important. I then swapped AVAX for Time. That was on the Trader Joe decentralized exchange. In return, I got 0.002966 Time. So anyway, that isn't too relevant, but what I ended up doing is staked 0.00285 Time on the wonderland.money app. And here's what that looks like. So as you can see, this is connected to my wallet. It knows that I have in my wallet this much Time, and I have a staked amount of this much now. And it doesn't show me my beginning balance, but what happens is 3 times per day, it compounds interest in a new amount of Time in the form of this memo token. They give you these tokens called memo, which are equivalent to Time. So 1 memo equals 1 Time. It's just how they manage their staking. So I have this much now, which is more than what I started with, and it compounds 3 times a day at this rate. So it ends up being this astronomically high annual percentage yield if you do all the calculations. But what's really interesting about this example is in the time that I staked since last week, the value of Time has dropped down quite a bit. So this green part up here is pretty much the time when I bought it. And then right after that moment, it went down. So it's interesting about this whole experiment is it's still worthwhile for me to do it. And I came up with this really quick calculator. It's really not set out that much, but here's the main takeaway. I started out with this amount in the beginning in terms of the amount of tokens I had in Time format, 0.00285. Now I have 0.003241, and that's actually a pretty decent return over the course of 7 days. That's a 13.71 percentage rate, compounding 3 times a day. So it's 21 intervals there. The downside is that the current value of this amount of tokens at today's price is less than $10, so much less than what I started with. However, if the price had remained stable, I would be up quite a bit. So that's just the nature of it. We can't control the fluctuation of the market price for Time. It's going to be volatile. And that's what if you read the white paper, they acknowledge that. Now, the other part of it is, why is it dropping? We don't know exactly, but what we do know is the incentive structure goes like this. For people like me who staked and put the Time token in and let them have it, we get rewarded when new coins are minted. And people who are minting, also called bonding, when they mint, they're buying tokens at a discount for a fixed return. I think it's 5 days later. It could be 7. Regardless, they buy it at a steep discount in the short term. And then 5 days later, they get that amount of Time. So if the price is depreciating, there's not many people who are going to want to mint. It's a disincentive if they lose faith in the price of the token. And that, for me, means like there's no more tokens to give out long-term for the people who stake. So we may be heading into this period over here where it's a lose-lose. It depends if people continue to sell the token on the market and the price continues to go down, then we won't have people minting, and that will be a lose-lose. So we'll see what happens. But I do know there's no incentive for me to unstake, because then I'm just realizing my loss. And that's a permanent loss. So here's a quick example of what's transpired over the last 7 days. Now, here's the part going back to avalanche. And this is the part that's intriguing. If you've heard that term impermanent loss come out, here's one interpretation of what that means. So AVAX, today AVAX is at 115 and 24. And last week when I purchased AVAX, it was right around $84. And so I purchased 0.15 AVAX. It was worth at the time $12.60. Now at the new price, it's at 115.24. So that would have been a gain of, roughly just under $5. So that's the impermanent loss that I incurred, because not only did I stake time and I lost money there, but I haven't lost it yet. But the opportunity cost of not holding on to my AVAX coin, that is an impermanent loss, because I used that coin that I had, actual money in my pocket, to do something else with it. And that other investment did not turn out. And so that's one version of how I understand impermanent loss. And it's impermanent because it's not forever, but that opportunity cost that I did not take advantage of, seeing that AVAX would go up, that opportunity is gone. So if I go back and I take my time out and I swap it back to AVAX, now I really have realized a net loss. So the main choice for me right now is, let's leave it in and continue to stake and appreciate in the form of time tokens. And if the price stabilizes, the appreciation rate that I have, I'll actually get a lot more time tokens to offset that short-term loss. If the price continues to go down, I'll have to leave my time tokens in there for even longer for that compounding to take effect. And it's such a small amount. It's really not going to compound as something that's really going to yield a lot in terms of like actual dollars. So we'll see. I'm just going to leave it in there and watch. I know this isn't a perfect explanation, but this is how I'm making sense of it. But really interesting lesson. And the big thing for me is, when I look into projects like Time, is there real value in there? I read their white paper again today, and it's a little bit convoluted. Their goal is to create this equivalent of a stable coin that is not linked to the US dollar. So they want Time to be that version of something that is super stable. And the way they do that is they have some reserves. It's based off of algorithms, and you can read through it. But I wonder if there's enough meat in this method that they're doing that it's going to deter people like me who are just speculating, even though my amount was tiny. But there are a lot of people who are speculating and going in and staking because they want to get returns. And then as the price increases, they can leave and they can get a quick return. So if the volatility of this token continues to go up and down, it's going to invite more speculation. And I think it kind of defeats the purpose of trying to bring this down to some stable level. So that's the big question mark that I have. And they acknowledge that point too, which is there will be volatility in the value of the market price for Time. But they realize there is a floor price that it should never go down below. So right now it's trading in the $3,000 range. I bought it over $4,000. If it remains stable at some lower amount, it may achieve its goal. But I think the more that this fluctuates, it's going to invite speculation, which I think rooms their whole game theory component, which is it's going to invite people to come in for a short amount of time, but it doesn't give them the incentive to keep it there for a long period of time because it's going to appreciate so much. So anyway, that's my open question. A lot of projects in crypto are just like this, where there's a lot of speculation. So I'm wondering, is there enough value in these projects to really think about, is it going to equate to some type of stability in a long-term format? Anyway, that's what I'm thinking about. Hope this was helpful. I'll see you next time.